I think it's safe to say neither one of you are going to move to Kentucky. And I'm only bringing up that state literally to transition to this. Mitch McConnell has announced that he's not running for his 8th term in the Senate in 2026. He's been in the Senate since 1985. He's currently serving his 7th term. He announced today that he is going to give up his seat. He stepped down from leadership last year, and he'll serve out the remainder of his term, which ends in January 2027. But it's official. His seat is up for re-election during midterms. What do you guys think?
Oh, that's that turtle guy, right? Who's like... I can't believe he's even still alive. It's like, okay, good. Go and get your break and go to an old folks home and get fed banana pudding and watch The Price is Right. It's long overdue, guy.
He really is deteriorating. I mean, we've seen a couple different freezing episodes. He's fallen a couple different times. Apparently he uses a wheelchair to get from his office to the Senate chamber now.
Wow.
Which just seems to be this weird trend in American politics where people hold on to their power for as long as possible, even when their physical form is like begging them to stop.
They're running out of the adrenochrome in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump is cutting off the supply. Mitch McConnell knows that his days are numbered. Cocaine Mitch, as they call him. This guy has so many seedy connections to the intel agencies and horrible drug trafficking operations. I mean, this guy right here was the main person standing in the way from all of the major appointments that Donald Trump tried to get passed, as he's still standing in the way. And clearly, I think he understands his days are kind of numbered here, specifically with Charlie Kirk saying that he's going to primary a lot of the people that stand in the way of Donald Trump. He's absolutely standing in the way of Donald Trump. He is a rhino. He is a neocon. He is a CIA backed member of the Senate. And I think he's been trying to call it quits for a long time. The guy clearly isn't there. He's clearly old. He should be on a beach somewhere. He should be relaxing.
With his turtle friends.
Yes.
Well, when he announced that he was going to leave leadership last year, he gave a speech on the floor where he got really emotional, and he talked about how his sister-in-law had just died and time and things like that. He's obviously deeply unpopular, especially with sort of the MAGA right that has emerged. On the other hand, he does get credit for ushering in Supreme Court justices that Trump had picked during his first term. He has a really mixed legacy, but I think you're right, Luke. When you saw him vote against basically what felt like almost all the contentious Trump appointees, you're just looking at him being like, so you're leaving, right? Like, you know that in 2 years you'll be gone.
Yeah, and this marks a huge opposition to him and unpopularity to him, since the vast majority of people want Trump to succeed. They want his appointments to go through. He's the only one kind of standing in his way, going against the will of the people here, specifically when it comes to a lot of the more kind of anti-establishment people that Trump wants to put in there, which highlights this larger battle that now finally there will be a larger end to. So I'm kind of happy to see this.
I thought you'd be happy about it.
Yeah, I'm super happy. I'm super happy about this, and it's good to see, because it's a major kind of turning of the page when it comes to the Republican political party. And I think he represents the old guard. He represents the Bushes, the Mitt Romneys, the Cheneys, the people that are more aligned with Kamala Harris and the liberal kind of neo-libs, as those two had definitely a big coalition going. And luckily that coalition wasn't successful, wasn't big enough to take down the populist, new Republican, libertarian-minded political party that is definitely becoming more of a bigger juggernaut and a bigger political force that can't be undermined anymore.
I think it's interesting that he has been in office longer than I have been alive, much longer than I've been alive, which is, again, this sort of changing of the guards, but also some of it is the, these people won't give up their seats. There was, I remember reading, especially during pre-COVID era, people talking about how basically older professionals just won't retire, and therefore there's no upward mobility for workers who are trying to grow in their career. Melonie, do you think there should be age limits or term limits for members of Congress, especially given Turtle Guy? So
I think for sure term limits. I mean, we're seeing what happens in I think age limit to a degree, because it's like, you see what happens when that dementia starts kicking in. It's crazy. It's like these people shouldn't be in these positions at this point. And it also just looks like elder abuse at some point. Same with like Biden, even. He was just lost his mind to the point to where it was like, okay, I know this is an evil man and I can't stand him, but you're making me feel sorry for him when he's falling down all the time and he's just not there at all. It feels like elder abuse.
Yeah.
So.
If you can't have a driver's license, you shouldn't be driving the nation.
Yes.
Right? You shouldn't be driving.
Stop driving at night. Stop driving the government for sure.
Exactly, 100%. He's the longest serving Senate party leader in history.
Mhm.
So this guy clearly has been in there for far too long. And again, I think this is a very big symbolic day. It's not just him. It's the old guard. It's the establishment, literally the old guard. I sent you a little video in the private chat. I don't know if it's a little bit too kind of morbid, but this is the first thing that popped up when I typed in Mitch McConnell into Twitter. And this is the conversation that people are having with.
Wow, wait, hold on.
Yeah, it is a pretty well video there that people
This
are
is what
now
she's sending us.
far and wide. That's the truth. Yeah,
the thing is, Mitch, there are so many people who are against him. I'm totally fine. You don't like Mitch McConnell, whatever. But, even the New York Post is pointing out that, like, there were times that he did things that you liked, which I think speaks to the general coalition of the Republicans. Like, so this is from the New York Post. The Kentucky Republican leaves behind a legacy of having completely remade the U.S. Supreme Court, giving it a conservative majority during the first Trump administration with the installation of 3 justices after having blocked Merrick Garland's appointment under former President Barack Obama. I think that he will be one of these politicians that old guard Republicans will be like, well, I remember he did this good thing. And younger conservatives, younger libertarians who sort of lean towards the Republican Party will be like, is that enough to redeem him for the other things that happen? There'll be this like loss of the rose-colored glasses. And that's, I think, one of the reasons to leave politics. Like, if you're just drunk on power, ultimately your legacy is not something you're going to preserve.
Yeah, I sent another one. I think it's definitely worthwhile to put this one up too, if that's okay there. As I have a little bit more of a different viewpoint. I believe in term limits, but the term limits should be 6 months and your time's up and you can't run ever again. Let's make government inefficient. Let's just keep replacing them every 6 months as fast as possibly we can in order for them not to be able to do anything or establish long-term ties with the establishment or the CIA or the private kind of lobbyists and special interest groups that essentially do control our government. Get rid of them all, make them absolutely irrelevant, and have them come in and out every 6 months, but not the same person.
I just worry that 6 months would then just elevate the political machine that operates alongside these people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there would be so many more people fundraising for campaigns. There'd be so many more campaign managers and all of the money that goes into that, which is not always I would say well used. I mean, look at Kamala Harris's campaign that was like pretending it didn't pay Beyonce to appear at places, and obviously
exactly. And the feds and the CIA can already like prep someone in advance to like be put in a position to even run for that.
But it would be too quick for them to catch up. That's my argument. It would be too fast. Like, oh my God, we got another one and another one and another. The system would just kind of give up on doing all those things because they can't do it on a long-term trajectory. There's a reason why there were so many special interest groups lobbying behind Kevin Johnson to be Speaker of the House, and why Matt Gaetz kind of overthrowing him and getting rid of him was so epic, because all of the big money interests were coalescing behind him for months and years behind the scenes, saying, okay, now when you're going to be in a position of power, you're going to carry out these orders for us. Matt Gaetz came in there, he got rid of them, and he got rid of so many powerful people that those powerful people returned the favor on him and then ended his political career as well.
I mean, I think one of the problems is having these installed politicians. Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi both held their leadership positions for decades. That, to me, seems like you're just asking for corruption. I mean, we obviously know Nancy Pelosi has gotten crazy wealthy. There are all kinds of questions about Mitch McConnell. It seems like the party itself should impose some sort of like, you can't be the reigning czar of this chamber off and on for 2 decades. But it wasn't really until more a new wave of conservatives that they were sort of like, we can elect McCarthy, but if we don't like him, we'll replace him. And it was reported largely by the mainstream media, definitely by progressive outlets, as like chaos within the Republican Party. When actually I think that's good for the voters. Like there shouldn't be someone who just gets the leadership position assumed or gets the leadership position on the assumption that they have somehow worked their way up. That's kind of what happened with Hakeem Jeffries. No one was surprised when he got a leadership position on the Democrat side, because it was like, yes, he has been sort of tapped to be the heir apparent. That seems gross to me in American politics.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out that Mitch McConnell was the gunman on the grassy knoll. I mean, this guy is so corrupted. This guy is so involved with everything. And what you mentioned specifically with this larger kind of seediness, this larger kind of corruption, this larger swamp, I think the swamp is being finally drained in a real life scenario. And he's the last big kind of plug that's going to finally have a lot of this bad blood, a lot of this like seedy, nasty, disgusting, filthy water finally drained out with his exit.
Yeah. I don't think his exit is surprising to anyone. I mean, when he stepped down from leadership, I think people largely believed that a retirement was coming, especially given his health stuff. Conversely, I'm going to compare him to Nancy Pelosi again. She stepped down from the Democratic leadership and then ran for re-election and is apparently going to run for re-election again. I mean, that she's not going to leave the House until she's kicking and screaming, a la Dianne Feinstein. And that was a really sad end. I mean, again, not a fan of Dianne Feinstein or her politics, but she was just in such terrible shape at the end. You want to be like, the culture that lets you leave with dignity. I'm going to read the statement from McConnell just so we have his perspective on record. 7 times my fellow Kentuckians have sent me to the Senate, McConnell said in prepared remarks from the Senate floor. Every day in between, I've been humbled by the trust they've placed in me to do their business. Representing our Commonwealth has been an honor of a lifetime. I will not seek this honor an 8th time. My current term in my Senate will be the last. Again, I don't know that it's a huge surprise that he's retiring. I think it's more just the fact that we finally have new life being breathed into both chambers.
Yeah. And, there's a lot of people online right now talking about how Congressman Thomas Macy could be the perfect candidate to replace Mitch McConnell. I just decided to tweet about that at Luke Weir Change because I want to get this ball rolling. And I think that would be the best kind of transition and the best perfect representation of a new Republican political party that is more aligned with the populists, with the libertarians, with the freedom-minded individuals, the Tea Party individuals that really do truly care about individual liberty and actually representing the people and not the special interest groups. So for me, I already have a horse in this race. Thomas Macy, let's replace Mitch McConnell. I think that's a perfect, brilliant idea. And I think that would literally create a new kind of Republican Party that could actually survive the test of time and be in political power for a very long time.